Good morning. You are watching Beyond the Headlines of Freedom Square TV. We are reaching you from our Enugu studios. Of course, Enugu is in the southeast part of Nigeria. Food security and insecurity are two sides of a coin that directly affect each other. Around the world, studies have shown that hunger, unemployment, and lack of access to food are catalysts for crime, violence, and instability. In Nigeria, the National Bureau of Statistics recently reported that food inflation has reached record highs, pushing more households into poverty. In rural communities, farmers are struggling with low yields, poor infrastructure, climate challenges, and in many cases, violent attacks that drive them away from their farms. Enugu State is not immune to these challenges. For years, rural communities in Uzo, East Uzo, Nkani East, and other parts of the state have faced herder-farmer clashes, destruction of crops, and displacement. This has not only threatened food supply, but also worsened the insecurity. Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State has outlined a bold vision in his manifesto and subsequent policy directions to transform Enugu State into a hub of agro-industrialization, ensure food sufficiency, create jobs, and by doing so, reduce insecurity across the state. What are the key points of his agenda? They include, but not limited to, expanding mechanized farming and modern agricultural practices, supporting farmers with access to improved seedlings, irrigation, and extension services, creating agro-allied industrial parks to process and store produce, encouraging youth participation in agriculture through employment schemes, strengthening security around farmlands so farmers can work without fear. The logic is clear. When citizens are food secure, employed, and hopeful, insecurity, of course, reduces. It is against this drop that we're examining a very important conversation. Governor Peter Mba, using food security to fight insecurity in Enugu State. Our guest is no stranger to the field of agriculture, food systems, and policy implementation. He will help us unpack how exactly this vision is being implemented and what it means for ordinary citizens of Enugu State. He is the special advisor on agriculture to the governor of Enugu State. He is Mr. Michael, some call him Mike, Michael Ogbuekwe. Mike, good morning and welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good morning, and it's my pleasure to be here with you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. A lot of people will be asking even the first question, what is food security? How does it impact individuals and communities in Enugu State?
Thank you. So food security is basically ensuring that there's food sufficiency, that every family, every person should have food, that we all take it for granted that we are going to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, that there is abundance of food, that there is surety that food will be available. And that is in my own little way of describing food security.
And conversely, how does food insecurity, so to speak, affect the different demographics in Enugu State, such as women, children, and the elderly?
I'll talk about how food insecurity affects the whole nation, the world. You know, according to Maslow's law, at the very basic of human needs is survival, existence, food, you eat. So every person must eat. As a matter of fact, we are all animals, so a higher animal. And when you get a goat, for instance, you have to give it food. So food is the basic thing that helps to ensure that our civilization exists, that human beings thrive. And when there is food insecurity, people cannot, think, people cannot function. People begin to live a life of scarcity. People begin to fight for basic things. People, the real innovation and creativity of mankind gets eroded when there's food insecurity. So that is why food security is very important. It's at the heart of everything that any government is supposed to do in the world. You can see what's happening in Gaza because of the war with Israel. That is an example of acute food insecurity. People can no longer behave well, they cannot exist. You can also see what happened in the US when there was Hurricane Katrina at Louisiana. America is considered a top rich country, first world country, but because of that hurricane striking that place, there's a breakdown of systems. There was food insecurity. And because of food insecurity, there was heightened insecurity. People started trying to kill because of a loaf of bread. So for government to ensure that a state or a nation is doing well, the government has to ensure there's food security. And on top of food security, every other thing is built. So food security is the foundation for modernization, for growth, for advancement of a society. And so in Enugu, the governor of Enugu State, Dr. Peter Mba, like you know, is doing well, has taken food security as a very, very important point in his agenda, which made him say that he's going to ensure that Enugu has a zero poverty head count. And so when there is poverty, food insecurity exists. So in order to achieve that, His Excellency, the governor, has developed agendas, like you said, created systems that would see to the implementation of food security. And first of all, you can recall that on Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, there was a launch of distribution of inputs, farm inputs to farmers. So if you want to ensure that there is food security, you have to ensure that there is abundance in production. So a farmer that cultivates 5 plots of land and is expected to get, say, 20 bags of rice, for instance, if he's not performing optimally, he gets 5 bags of rice. Don't you see that? That also contributes to food insecurity. So the governor has decided that he ensures that the farmers that farm get the right seeds that will ensure yield, high yield. So talking about seeds like Faru 44 seeds, is to ensure that our farmers get fertilizers that help to boost the growth, ensure that our farmers get herbicides to kill the weeds, and ensure that our farmers get extension services, training. That because if people don't get trained, they don't know that what they are doing is not right. So ensure that we get extension services to our farmers. Above all, the governor paid attention to the supply of machines. So you cannot talk of food security when you do not have farm mechanization. So if I'm a farmer that does cultivates 5 hectares of land, and I have maybe 50 hectares of land, I cannot cultivate that if I do not have farm machinery. Therefore, His Excellency, the governor, brought in tractors to help our farmers begin to cultivate larger portions of land. So we have 200 tractors in Enugu now. As a matter of fact, the government went into an agreement with the company that set up a tractor assembly plant. So it's about 90% to 95% completion. So in a short time, you start seeing tractors being assembled and rolled out in Enugu. And to make up the number, because the target the governor has is 1,000 tractors. So you put all these together with the work that has been going on in various projects in Enugu, like the Fadama project, like the AFAT project. You see that Enugu government, the governor of Enugu State, is pushing Enugu towards 100% food security. And subsequently, I will also give you more information.
Okay, somebody may just be wondering, when you entered the office, what did you observe to be the biggest obstacles farmers in Enugu face? Was it actually insecurity, or access to finance, or poor mechanization, or even climate change?
Okay, so the biggest challenge the farmers had was, first of all, organization, getting the farmers organized to get more productive. And I'll explain that. Our farmers especially in Igbo land, we farm individually, you farm here, you farm there, you farm there, it's scattered.
Yeah.
And then, so everybody's farming according to his own small capacity. There is usually lack of, cooperation to, produce mass. And so the need for our farmers to get organized into clusters to be able to have cooperatives that would enable them to have access to finance. Because as individuals, it's difficult to get access to finance in agriculture in Nigeria as it is. But as a cooperative becomes an entity that is registered, like a limited liability company, so to speak. So with that, they can get access to finance. So that challenge had to be broken down. Now let's give you an example of the Asian tigers, as they call them. Thailand, Malaysia, South Korea. In 2016, when I went to South Korea for a course on developing the economies of rural communities, you will see that what the then leader of South Korea did, that was General Park, after the war, was to now organize their people into productive clusters and ensure that there was serious cooperation. He created a model called the Samuel Undong that helped them to work together. So on coming, we saw that that was a challenge. So His Excellency created a structure called the farm estate structure. What is a farm estate? We have 260 political wards in Enugu State. That's the lowest political unit in any part of the country. So you can see in a ward you have like maybe 2 communities can form a ward, 1 community a ward, or 3 or 4 communities form a ward. So each community was asked to bring 200 hectares of land. If you multiply 200 hectares by 260 wards, that's 52,000 hectares. So what was the idea? His Excellency decided to develop 200 hectares closest to the people, which is bringing farmland that was not into cultivation. Farmland that our people call agro, that they don't go to because of fear or because of lack of capacity to clear the land, remove the trees, which is the biggest cost for farming in the southeast as it is. So the governor has come in and said, clearing this land is going to cost a lot of money. Getting the people to agree to a central location is going to be a problem. So the governor came in with the farm estate program and started surveying and started clearing these farmlands. So what has that done? Efficiently bringing cluster system into our farming system, arranging and helping to organize our farmers into clusters, putting to use land that has been laying fallow, that has been vacant, that people have gone into and criminals have converted to hiding spots. And nature abhors vacuum. Nature doesn't like vacuum. So we allowed vacuum to exist in our farmland. So criminality started existing in those farmlands. So now, using agriculture, His Excellency has gone in and started clearing those farmlands. Therefore, there's no hiding place for those criminals. And so our people can now have security to go in and farm in clusters and produce food and increase food security. So can you see the structure? So let me use a common example, like a place called Ebof in Kano East, that used to be a den of all manners of criminals. They will kidnap, they will take people there. That place, in fact, the name of the place is called Agu Udede. It's such a thick forest that if you're flying helicopter and you're under, you will not see anybody there. So it became a very good habitat for criminals. So when the governor came in, he went in there together with the members of the security apparatus of the nation, and together they worked and cleared that place of criminals. The governor now decided to convert that vacuum, fill it up, clear it up, and convert it into a farm estate. So what has happened there is that they fenced the place. So each farm estate is being fenced. So that place is fenced with a gatehouse. And in the center of that farm estate, there's a warehouse, 750 square meters of warehouse, where each farmer from that community, from that ward, will be allocated 1 hectare within the farm estate, such that the produce that they produce will be uniform. So they'll be giving seeds, they'll be giving fertilizers, the tractors will go there and then they'll cultivate. As the harvest is taken to the warehouse, buyer comes to buy. So you can see an organized farming system that frees up the farmers from a lot of stress so that they can focus on cultivation while we do market linkages as a state, linking them to markets. So now, because of this system of creating farm estates to drive away insecurity, to put our dormant assets to use, to ensure that our forests are no more forests for criminals, but land for cultivation. We have now gotten companies like Nigerian breweries talking with us about supplying them sorghum, for instance. So you can see that there's now a new sector development. Our people have not known to farm sorghum, for instance. So they can now be taught how to farm sorghum so that we can supply to Nigerian breweries. So you can see a cycle of economy, we call the rural economic development coming in. So that the young boys that used to just hang around, ride Okada, and be mischievous, will be busy in the farm because they are sure that money is going to come into their pockets. So that's for lack of organization that we noticed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Akof, just one example. Akof is in Enugu East Senatorial Zone.
Yes.
Is there any like that in Enugu North Senatorial Zone?
So work is going on across most of the wards in Enugu State simultaneously. So just like the smart schools are done in the
electoral wards.
In the wards, farm estates are done in the forest of each ward, including even the urban areas.
So I was going to come to that because
okay. So let me.
Yes.
I'll, don't worry. I'm here. I'll give you this. So, like, if you go to Udi, we go to Umabi. We went to visit the one they are doing at Umabi. We went at Enugu North Senatorial Zone. We went to Ete in Igboeze North, where they are doing one. Udenu is doing. Several local governments are all doing simultaneously. Enugu East is doing somewhere at Ogbuekwe that I'm talking of the ones I saw. Yeah. Kano West is doing somewhere at Amuri. So there is a long list of work going on. And this is a partnership between the state government and the local governments. So the local governments are driving the initial expansion and opening of those farm estates. Then when you come to an urban local government like Enugu North, Enugu South, and some parts of Enugu East, what we have done is we've taken a different approach and introduced the greenhouses, the greenhouse concept to the farm estate. So we have farm estate for greenhouses. So smaller size, but optimal production. So at Iva Valley in Enugu North local government, we found land, a couple of hectares. So work is going on now in the fencing and building of the gatehouse. And when you secure it, we can now deploy greenhouses. So in a greenhouse of 500 square meters can give you so much production of vegetables. So you see, people in the Kano East, in Uzowani, for instance, will be producing something like rice. Then, which is where they have comparative advantage, of course, cassava, the rest of it. But Enugu North, that doesn't have that much land, would now focus on greenhouses and produce vegetables. You know that tomatoes are expensive, you know that pepper is expensive, you know that cucumber and all that. So, like we usually call it new sector development. Our youth will now be taught how to produce things that they only thought could be produced only in the northern part of Nigeria. So we feed ourselves, so we boost our economy within ourselves. So when that is done, the chairman too of Enugu North was also looking at, refurbishing and structuring the market, or thereby market, to become a very beautiful, lively vegetable market. So you can see the linkage. So it's not just creating the farm estate, but also linking it to the market, linking it to shops, so that we in Enugu can eat fresh and look fresh. And
is that why you're looking fresh? Okay, His Excellency the Governor, Peter Ndubi Simba, has variously spoken about turning Enugu into a hub for agro-industrialization. What practical steps, if any, have been taken on the ground to achieve this?
Yeah, thank you. So, agriculture without industrialization is just subsistence. So, His Excellency, who is an industrialist, has come in to move Enugu State to the industrial era. And that is why you see him reviving the moribund industries that we have. For instance, the UPPL, the United Palm Produce Limited.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that Enugu has thousands of hectares of palm plantations just laying fallow? So we have a company running that. We have Sunrise Flour Mill, which is an industry, an agro-industry, that the government is working now to revive, so that produce from the farms, cassava, maize, soybeans can be planted in farm estates and our farmers, and then moved to Sunrise Flour Mill and converted to flour. That is agro-industrialization. Palm, from the various palm plantations, and even our individual palms, can be converted to palm oil, converted to the derivatives of palm oil. You know how palm is, so that is industrialization. And then we go to Eziago at Mbabuawa. You go to Ojo in Uzowani. He's currently reactivating irrigation schemes that we have there, so that we can now have all-year farming to produce crops that will feed the industries. So basically, we have production which all of us, you and I, can participate in, and then we have processing into products. That is industrialization. So now, what His Excellency is doing is linking production to processing. That is the agro industries. With the tractors and the opening of new farmlands, our people can cultivate in large scale. And because industrialization and industries cannot use products from 5 plots of land, 10 plots of land. The machines will not stop producing. You need constant supply of raw materials to the processing industries. So, and that is what the governor is doing, working on the downstream, working on the upstream, getting the products, increasing production, and ensuring that there are companies that will take these products. So that's why I told you about Nigerian breweries. We recently found out that sorghum can be grown in Enugu. Well, not recently, because we've been doing tests. So sorghum is one of the major ingredients that is used in production in breweries. And it's been coming from the north. And we're here, sitting here, not even producing one. So you can see that is the policies of the governor that has now created an avenue for us to now start looking at these kind of things, linking our farms, our farmers to industries. So that's also industrialization. And recently we spoke with Nigerian breweries. They said we can come and do a test run of barley, production. So when we test run barley, and if barley does well in Enugu, we'll scale up barley production and then link it to the breweries, and see how we can take a chunk of that money that goes abroad for purchase of barley and keep the money in Enugu. So that is the idea of industrialization and growing our economy.
Well, so Mike, I'm not sure you've heard, or maybe you've heard about the pineapple production in Namoli, in our local government area. Time was when, still is, when for every pineapple head you find in Enugu, if you check the marks, they normally bore Amoli. And that was what brought Sankaros. I'm sure you heard about Sankaros. That was what brought Sankaros to where it was positioned. It was because the greatest pineapple producing community in the whole of Southeast is Amoli. I recall that at the time, even when Chibok was governor, there was an attempt, so to speak, to set up a processing factory there. Sullivan tried it and then now moved it to Sankaros. What happened was the Sankaros was, wrongly cited. It was politically, it was cited around Ihe, Abodo, and a little bit of Amuli. And so the people felt, no, it was supposed to be in our community. And so the kind of, we're not too enthusiastic supplying those pineapples to Sankaros. And maybe not. Don't know what's happening to Sankaros now. But with this knowledge, if you didn't know it before, what effort do you think government will be doing to revive the pineapple production in Amul and Denimba in our local government area?
This is an example of a production cluster that is existing. And what that production cluster needs is enhancement, right? Support. So, Amuli, since they produce pineapple already, that means we have a farm estate that is targeted at pineapple production. So those farmers would be, profiled, put together, supported, and ensure there's uniform production. And then we'll link them up to industries, factories that need pineapple. So, and gradually, you know how the government operates. We always know how to get investors. People in Enugu is now the darling of investors. People are always calling, where can we invest our money? So we will bring in investments to that cluster so that we can revive the processing of pineapple into juices, into what do you call it, concentrate, yes. And boost the rural economy in Amuli. So it's a very, very good place. And why not? If San Carlos would want to return, we'll be very more than willing to also work with San Carlos to continue from where they stopped.
Many young people have seen agriculture as very, very unattractive. And this has persisted for a pretty long time. Are there any efforts that this administration is making to make farming, agriculture, appealing to the youth, so that they will take it as a part of a career path?
Yes, so thank you. The reason why agriculture has not been appealing is because they see it like a dirty job or a job that is difficult to do, right?
Yep.
So while the rest of the world are mechanized, working with tractors, working with threshers, we here, mostly in Africa, have not really been investing in equipment. And so it becomes backbreaking and unattractive to the youth. But with what Enugu is doing now, with the numbers of equipment coming in, with the clustering of the farms, with the security we're providing around farms, with market linkages, with greenhouses, new ways of doing things, agriculture will become very attractive to the youth, especially when they see the numbers, the money that they will make, the money that is flowing in. At the end of the day, everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to have a livelihood. And you see what happened with people coming in to use tech to raise finance for agriculture. Yes, the youth of these days prefer things to do with tech, prefer things to do with computers and the rest. So now they are also beginning to see how they can do crowdfunding, financing agriculture. And before you can do that, you have to understand agriculture. So our youth are beginning to see the various ways they can now begin to enjoy agriculture. And what we are doing is to show the youth that apart from production, there's value change within agriculture that they can come in, that will make them attractive. I remember in 2019, I did a training with youth to show them the value chain. So we have the production part of the value chain, that is in the farm. The youth in the rural areas, actually, they still participate in agriculture. But a lot more needs to be done. When they start getting machines, they will participate more. After production, there is the processing part.
Okay.
So youth can also come into the processing part. So which is, if somebody plants rice and harvests rice, you need the rice mill to process the rice to edible rice, right? So that's part of the value chain is part that the youth can also play in, which is processing. Like every farm estate will have different kinds of processing equipment. So that will also encourage youth to go in. We have the packaging part of the value chain. So I am also the general manager and CEO of Enugu Marketing Company. And that is where I have tried and worked to play with the youth so that they can participate in agriculture, which is packaging. So after the rice is processed, people sell it in bags, in printers. But the youth can come in as packaging expert and a marketer. Package the rice in various sizes and sell on those platforms that they like, which is on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on TikTok, on Instagram. I know a number of youths that do that. Not just rice, gari, beans, crayfish. So you can see how the youth can come in. So there is space for youth. There is attractive space for youth. And the youth that have paid attention have started doing it already. So packaging, and then there's space for marketing. When it has been packaged, youth that some people that are more socially engaging than the rest, they just take what has been packaged and sell. So you see people selling honey, selling all kinds of agro products. Strictly, they don't even package, they just market. So by the time all this are all put in together, you see that more youths are going to, go into agriculture, and it increases the job opportunities that exist for our people.
You see, you took the word out of my mouth, actually. I was going to ask about Enugu State Marketing Company. Maybe, perhaps, I wouldn't know, I may be wrong, but before this administration, I don't know how much is head of the Enugu Marketing Company. And adding that portfolio to your business already scheduled as special advisor on agriculture, what innovations have you brought? This is a disruptive government. So I want to see, I'm sure our viewers would like to know what disruptive programs have you brought to marketing board, to marketing company, so to speak, that would have made or is making food stuff available to Enugu seamlessly. So that, I presume, that should be the job of the marketing company, to ensure that whatever it may be scarce, expensive, you go to the marketing company, at least you have it at affordable price.
The Enugu Marketing Company, like you said, is owned by the state government. And when we came in, we decided to, move that place upwards, give it life, put some innovation, help people to get access to products at a lower cost. And that is what the Enugu Marketing Company is doing now. We came in, the Enugu Marketing Company is located beside Water Corporation, opposite the Enugu State Secretariat. So we came in and looked at the place, we started revamping the place. We opened a new branch at Ogbuekwe Road, subway bus stop, beside Ogbuekwe Road police station. We opened a small branch there. Keep everything low, prices low. And then we went ahead and acquired our own rice processing machines. We set up a food product packaging unit where we aggregate foodstuff. I mentioned that on the value chain, there is packaging and there is marketing.
Yes.
So that's where we now use Enugu Marketing Company to come in. So we go and aggregate rice from our farmers. We add some secondary processing, clean it up, make sure there's stone-free, package it in good package, the way that you want your rice to look, international standard, we sell it at low price. We do that, and we trademark our products.
Low as, you see, when you talk about low price,
so
as low as 50 kg, 25 kg.
Of course, so we have 50 kg, 25 kg, 10 kg. So we do that for gari, we do that for palm oil, we do that for crayfish, we do that for beans, any product that you can think of. So we sell at low prices. And it didn't just end there. We trademarked Enugu, made in Enugu products. We trademarked Enugu rice, Coast City rice, Enugu gari, Enugu palm oil, Enugu vegetables, Enugu okra, and Suka Pepper, trademark TM. I gave it beautiful labels. We didn't stop there. We went to NAFDAC, went through the rigorous process of NAFDAC checking our processing centers, ensuring it's up to standard, checking our packaging, and then we got NAFDAC numbers for our products. So you see how we are going. We know that our farmers are here, and we know that our people in the urban areas are here. And we want to help the people in the urban areas get access to foodstuff at a lower price. We also want to help our farmers sell their products. So that's what Enugu Marketing Company is doing. We have people that work in offices that don't have time, to go to Ogbuekwe and suffer in the rain. And then we set up e-commerce. So now as we speak, we have www.enugumarket.ng. We have all our products there. So all you need to do is go and check. We have the lowest prices in town. Go and verify. You don't need to leave your house to verify now. Just type www.enugumarket.ng. You will see the price there. When you see the price, then you can call somebody in the market and confirm we have the lowest prices. So that's what we've done. And then we have delivery, same-day delivery for Enugu. You're in Trasekulusa. Just go to www.enugumarket.ng and do your shopping. Put rice, put crayfish, put indomie, put oil, put gari. In the next 3 hours, the bike will be at your gate. They will deliver your food stuff. So why are you suffering? You can see the innovation that we're talking about. Don't you see that that's what the youth want? Yeah, and it is still part of agriculture. But it did not stop there, sir. Our app will soon come out. So what we are using is a website. Our app is, we are working on the app. And then the governor saw all of this and I said, wow, this is nice. And said, and approved that we should do a system of buy now, pay later for workers. Buy now, pay later. So instead of you going to Ogbuekwe as a worker to go and be begging my money here to, you come to marketing company, we verify that you're a worker. We will give you the food stuff, not more than 30% of your salary. At the end of the month, at source, the money will be paid to us. So it helps you with financial management. Because there's no way that when your salary comes, you will not spend more than 50% on food. That's the basic necessity. So we've already done that for you. It is cheaper than the market. It is more quality. It is our own, from our own farms. So that your money is going to the guy in the village. So that is what we've done with marketing company. And we're still pushing, we're still working. The better days are ahead.
Okay, Robert Advisor and General Manager, Managing Director. General Manager. I think this is a good point to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be looking at strategies for improvement and looking at using food security as a weapon and other issues. We'll be back shortly.
Not everything makes it into the headlines, but we bring you the full story. Join Uchenna Cyril Anyoke, a renowned media personality and former president of the Nigerian Publishers Association, as he unpacks the real issues behind the news, from politics to public policy, economy to human rights. Nothing is off limits. Expert guest, in-depth conversation, local and global perspective. New episode every week on Facebook and YouTube. Watch now on Freedom Square TV. Follow for updates and behind the scenes clips. Beyond the headlines, beyond the news.
You are still watching Beyond the Headlines on Freedom Square TV. And my guest is still Honorable Mike Ogbuekwe, who of course is the special advisor to the governor of Enugu State on agriculture. And he combines it with a very, very challenging portfolio as the general manager of Enugu State Marketing Company. I just told you a wonderful story about the marketing company. Of course, virtually every commodity you find it in the marketing company. And he has also added that it's about the lowest price you can find anywhere. He said we should go and verify. That will take up the challenge and go to verify. And he has also added that from the comfort of your home, you can also order for whatever you want. And in an hour or two, You have a delivery man by your door. He did not stop there. He said something that is quite interesting for those who are working, whose office can be verified. That you can buy today and pay later. That's an initiative that would help a lot of low-income workers, meaning, I think without considering now that it's just about the 10 days into the month, you are lacking, and you know you have a verifiable place where you work. You can go to the marketing company, show your credentials, it's verified, and you can buy goods not more than 30% of your salary. So that will keep you going till the end of the month. If that is not disruptive, well, maybe we'll be looking for another word for disruption. But having said that, Honorable, one of the things people are wondering is what role does the private sector play in this vision of food security? Are there partnerships already in motion anywhere?
Yes, thank you. So we are, this government is private sector driven actually. We have a lot of partnerships going on in the agriculture space in ensuring food security. The revitalization of a United Palm Production Limited is through a private partnership. Sunrise Flour Mill through a private partnership. We have farms, Ugu Anama Farm at Isuza. We signed MOU with private partnership. And then we have rooms for other private partners. You know, we have MOU structure whereby an investor wants to farm, he has money, he wants to farm. We will give the investor land. We'll sign an MOU for how the land will be utilized, and the investor can pull in resources and cultivate. So that's private partnership. Even the farm estates we're talking about, we have rooms for private investors to come invest in the in-grower model, whereby you supply seeds, you supply input, our farmers produce for you, you buy off your produce. So there's no way we can do this as a state without working with the private sector. So as it is, yes, the answer is correct.
Okay, that's good to know. It's been thought, I don't know whether the practice is available here, that we can use food security as a tool for conflict management and peace building. Is this applicable in Enugu State?
Yes, it is. I mean, an angry man is a hungry man is an angry man.
Yes, yes, that's correct.
That's what you see, right? And when somebody is angry, the tendency is that there will be conflict is high. The tendency is there will be conflict is high. And when you talk about peace resolution, the tendency of, herders, farmers clashes also will occur. The reason why there is conflict between herders and farmers is because it creates food insecurity. So, Mr. Emeka Okafor plants cassava, and the herdsman carries his cows into the cassava farms. That cassava is food security for Emeka's family for the next 1 year or 2 years. The herder is looking for food security for his own cattle and himself. So you can see that there's conflict. So applying best practices, applying these innovative solutions of having farmers farming clusters, fence off the herders, ensure that there is a law for anti-grazing, open grazing. People should graze in clusters. Everything should be in clusters anyway. Farming in clusters, cattle grazing in clusters. What is the other name for cattle grazing in cluster? It's a ranch.
That is right.
It's a ranch. So if our farmers are farming in clusters, meaning that we have farm estates, we have large-scale farms that are contiguous and organized. Herders are also in clusters. They should also graze in clusters. So in order to achieve that, the government is setting up state-owned clusters owned by the state. driven by private sector. That one will come. So we will allow the governor to announce that one. So applying our strategies in ensuring that there is mechanization, that the farms are fenced off, that there is no allowance for people carrying cows and trespassing into farmlands, that ensures conflict resolution on one part. And secondly, our people are known to have issues, conflict when it comes to farmlands. So when we engage communities and they together work together to bring out contiguous areas for the communities to farm, that also removes conflict. And then when we allow and ensure that our people have fair pricing for their products, help our people to get access to markets, and money returns back to our people. The hunger goes, and when there's no hunger, there's no anger. So unnecessary crisis will not exist. So that answers your question.
One of the biggest challenges that people in most cities face is inflation, food inflation, so to speak. And Enugu is not immune. It's affecting households in monumental measures. And that's why if you go to an average market, you find that they tell you that food prices are at all-time high. So, is there anything being done by the state government, through a ministry, through the marketing board, to stabilize? It's not a question of you selling at low prices at the marketing company. But in the markets, there are sometimes people tell you, I bought a bag of rice for today. You go tomorrow, the bag of rice has jumped to something else. So, food price stabilization. Is there any concrete steps?
So, all of these things that are happening, that the state is doing, is what will eventually ensure a more consistent stabilization of prices.
Our traders are shallow.
So
they maximize profit.
So demand and supply. When there's high supply, it crashes. The prices. But when there's high demand and there's little supply, prices shoot up. So the work that the government is doing, that Peter Mba is doing to increase production, give our people inputs. Yeah. So that we are distributing inputs that we get to over 40,000 farmers. Do you know what that means? So when inputs get to over 40 to 60,000 farmers, that means they will cultivate more cassava. They are receiving cassava stems, high grade. They are receiving rice seeds, high variety, good yield. They are receiving maize. They are receiving fertilizers. By the time all these farmers plant it, in addition to what they already planted with their own money. Okay. So if I have money to plant one plot and the state government gives me one, I will plant another 2 plots, does it not mean that I have 3 plots of products? That means there will be increase in production at harvest. And once there is increase in supply, there's going to be a reduction in prices. Someone told me, and I checked, even from my sales, that the prices of garri dropped this year compared to last year. Yeah. And that is because of the intervention that was done last year when His Excellency distributed inputs to farmers last year. He has done the same this year. And by the time all our farm estates kick off, our tractors are running all over the place, there's going to be food. Marketing company is also going to help stabilize price. Because, of course, that we are going to be at the center aggregating a lot of all this food stuff. So we are going to be ensuring that food stuff is going to be going to our people at the very basic price. Because, like you said, the traders are Shylocks. They're the ones that increase the prices. So if we keep depending on our traders to fix prices, we're going to continue to have issues. So these are all the things that our work is going on under the ground. Like I said, Ada do bridge in 1 month. By the time all of these things put in place, you just find out that it's happening. But you will not remember that there's a time it was being engineered and being implemented.
Looking beyond the next 3, 5, 6 years, effectively this administration God willing, has the next 6 years to continue to deliver a dividend of democracy to the Enugu. So where do we see Enugu State? Agriculture, agro-industrialization, in particular food security agenda in the next 6 years.
In the next 6 years,
What do you expect to see?
we expect that our people will call Dr. Peter Mbadi Joseph of Enugu, who has helped to increase food production. In the next 6 years, our farm estates will all be flowing. We'll have factories producing food. We will have large aggregation warehouses where people are buying wholesale. We have workers buying food and paying later, they don't even bother. We will have our meat industry transformed such that we produce our cattle, we produce our goats, we produce our pigs, our chickens well in a well-structured environment. We will have our meat mart. We will see that we supply packaged meat to the length and breadth of Nigeria and even outside. We will see that our farming systems are well structured. We will see that the young people have now started making a lot of money from agriculture. We will see our villages as very, very big production centers. That when you go to the village, nobody's expecting you to give them money anymore. Come on, because there is wealth. We see wealth creation from agriculture. Because we expect that agriculture will contribute more than 40% to the GDP, the gross domestic product of Enugu. So when we're talking about the governor lifting the GDP of Enugu State to $30 billion, we're expecting that agriculture should contribute over 40% of that. So for that to have happened means that our rural communities are vibrant economic spaces where we can go and live, work, and enjoy fresh air. That's what we expect at the end of the coming 6 years.
Okay, that's a bold vision, and those are bold ideas. And of course, this is where we bring this conversation to an end. But just if you are watching us, it does not end there. What do you think about Peter Mbadi's food security initiatives in Enugu State? Let us have your views. Do you also believe that food sufficiency can reduce insecurity in Enugu State? Or is this already reducing food insecurity in Enugu State? We also want to hear that. So you can send your comments via WhatsApp, drop your questions on Facebook at Freedom Square TV, or join the conversation on YouTube. We'll take some of your contributions. I will reply to them as soon as we have your contributions. And what do we do here? We must type Mr. and Honorable. He likes to answer Mr. He doesn't answer Honorable. Mike Ogbuekwe. He is today the Special Advisor to the Governor of Agriculture and General Manager of Enugu Marketing Company, and has brought initiatives to the Enugu. So, Honorable, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. As we will say, this is your first. It will not be your last. It will not be your last. And so, what have we just learned from him? Food security is not just about filling stomachs. It's about empowering citizens, strengthening communities, and building peace. As Dr. Peter Mbadi's administration continues to push forward in this direction, we'll keep asking the right questions and holding the conversations beyond the headlines. So, thank you very much for being part of this.